I want to share some thoughts on barriers to change, and they apply to almost everything that we do as individuals, and they're interesting when you look at them from just kind of stand back and evaluate them from your own point of view. One of the most challenging and probably the more difficult barrier to get a handle on is preconditioned cultural beliefs that we as individuals, we pick up over time beliefs that control our behavior that are a part of the culture that we've either been raised in or trained in as organizations, and those preconditioned cultural beliefs are really hard to overcome. There was a period, a long time ago, where people operated and made decisions based on their belief that the earth was flat. And at that period in time, you know, it controlled the behavior of all people. And they would sail out so far, chicken out, turn around, come back. And that made sense because they were sailing on a flat world. And most of us know the earth is round. There's still a flat earth society, incidentally. I think the headquarters are in Idaho. I'm not sure. But we developed flat worlds in here in terms of our ability to do things. There was a time when you couldn't run a mile in under 4 minutes. Then someone broke that 4-minute barrier. And after that, a whole bunch of people ran a mile in under 4 minutes. And every day, almost today, young people are breaking those mental barriers. Preconditioned cultural beliefs. When you look at an organization, industrial plant, and you look back 20 years, it's amazing the progress that we made when you look back. Hindsight's always 20/20, but preconditioned cultural beliefs is one of the major barriers to change. I grew up, and let me give you just a quick summary of how that happens. I grew up in the streets of Philadelphia, left home when I was about 13, started running again, and as a result of poor management, I always attribute it to poor management, I wound up as a consumer of correctional services. And I did a significant period of time, in 17 years inside of maximum security prisons, and over that time, I became the leader in that environment. Now let me just share with you and recognize this is a mental exercise. It could be absolutely goofy, who knows? I'm not saying this is accurate, but let me just share my thoughts with you on that. I went into the first prison I went in as a 19-year-old scared young man. I came out of that prison 6 years later thinking like a convict. The culture of the prison changed the way that I think. And that carried me for about 20 years until I got into this information and I recognized that the trap I was in here. That it wasn't out there. That if I could change the way that I think, I would change the way that I act. And I absolutely got committed to changing the way that I think. I am very, very, very disciplined in what I think about. I don't think about things that I don't want. I think about the things that I want. I think about treating people with dignity and respect. I think about catching people doing things right. I think about achieving the end results that I want to achieve. I have control over what I think about. But preconditioned cultural beliefs are one of the major barriers to change. Just ask yourself a question, and you know, each of us answer ourselves. If you move towards and become like that which you think about most of the time, wouldn't it make sense to spend a little more time thinking about what we think about? Do you know what accident proneness is? It's someone goes out looking for an accident. And if they don't remember, someone who loves them reminds them. Remember how you are. God, but I didn't. Now that you mention it, I think accidents occur when two accident-prone people run into each other. So preconditioned cultural beliefs is one of the major barriers to change. And you, in your plant, you pick up beliefs over time. And we pick up beliefs that we can't compete sometimes. And that affects our behavior. And so you got to ask yourself, what are those preconditioned beliefs and who give them to you? Where did you pick them up? Are they still relevant? Another barrier is habits. We get habituated. Habits start out as a conscious process of thought, then through repetition and repetition and repetition, you turn it over to the subconscious and you just free flow. And you know when you mess up? When you bring the habit from the subconscious to the conscious. You mess up. Any of you golf? But you take a golfer, and about the 8th tee off, you ask that golfer this all-important question. Say, I've been watching you this for first 8 holes. You're really getting big distance on that ball. But I got a question. Maybe you could answer it for me. Are you inhaling or exhaling on the backswing? And the golfer brings the subconscious conscious right out in the rough with the ball. See, when you bring it from the subconscious, I used to be a professional fighter, and when I was a fighter, you know, I had a trainer who taught me how to fight. And you throw a left jab on a heavy bag, and then if you get the left jab down, the trainer puts the towel under your right arm, you hold the towel, and if you raise your right arm, drop the towel, the trainer hits you. So you learn not to raise your right arm. I walked like this for months. But you get the left jab down, then you put a 1-2. 1-2. 1-2. 1-2. And you get that down. Then you go 1-2-3. 1-2-3. You know, 1-2-3. 1-2-3. And you get that down. Then you get out in the center of the ring, and an opening occurs, you don't have to think, let me see, 1, 2, hell, you'd get beat to death. It's automatically. But let me suggest to you that if I listen to somebody who doesn't know what they're doing, and they teach me how to do it, this way you do it, go to it's 1, 2, 1, 2. And I get out in the center of the ring, in real contest, I walk out and I go, 1, bang. The referee goes 2, 3, 4.